Hello, so we meet again. This time we are discussing EOM IFT2. And what was this paper all about? If you're given the paper and you realize how much this is dependent on your speed, I'm sure everybody who is good with their vocabulary, everybody who's been paying attention to the grammar and the verbal logic that we've been teaching over the last few weeks, everybody who has been focusing on those areas would have loved the paper. People who have been, for whatever reasons, been focusing only on areas related to CAT, yes, this was a fairly tough paper for you. As always, our analysis should focus on where to stand, a beginner, intermediate, or advanced level. Your analysis should focus on your selection skills and your sequencing skills. How do you identify what concepts are you familiar with? What are your strengths, whether they are RC, whether they are vocabulary. Although vocabulary, there was not much, but still, if you have been attending vocab, if you remember the words that we taught in Vocab Empowered, this wasn't really such a tough test. And then obviously time allocation, the thing that I show you towards the end. So overall, what was the paper all about? 34 questions, ideal time, 35 minutes. 34 questions comprised reading comprehension, 16 questions, 4 passages of 4 questions each, all of them more or less in a sequence. Grammar, 10 questions, out of which you had 4 of sentence completion, 4 of idiom usage, and 2 of sentence correction. Yeah, so completing the sentence questions that you saw, for example, one of them was on prepositions, the other was on compound conjunctions, and the remaining 2 questions were complete the sentence by using the correct clause dependent on the conjunction. Verbal logic, you had 6 questions, 3 in parables, 3 in analogies, and lastly, as I said, vocabulary, 2 questions, both of them word meaning. Overall, I'll repeat, more or less easy to moderate level paper. Let's get started. Reading comprehension, the first passage, undoubtedly the best passage among the 4. Overall difficulty level, I would call it easy. Why? Because it was really easy to read. It was probably similar to the kind of newspaper articles you would have read in the last 6 to 8 months. So not a very challenging passage. Moderate length, yes, not very long. And 3 direct questions. That's the best thing that you can expect on a paper like IFT. So the first question was the only one that was a bit time consuming. Otherwise, all the 3 remaining questions were pretty much straightforward. So whatever you did, if you attempted this passage properly, you would have been really, really happy with the kind of work that you've done with RC till now. Second passage, now from first to second, the difficulty level changed. Why? Because the second passage is a bit, starts with a photograph, goes to technology, then goes to social media, and pretty much talks about a topic that many of us know, but we really can't figure out till the last second paragraph, what exactly is the author trying to say. So what did this have? This had only 1 direct question, which is the reason I said it's a lengthy passage, not so easy to read. Only 1 direct question, not to the 5th one. 6th and 7th, both of them were inference questions, out of which the 6th one was an inferred, all of the following can be inferred except, which is likely, honestly, which is never easy. Like if you miss out the word except, you'll end up getting absolutely confused in this question. And then you had another inference question, which was too long, honestly. Like, on a speed-based exam like IFT, this is precisely the kind of question that you should be wary of trying. And the last question, main idea. In such a long passage, the main idea is always like, "Arey, yaar, ye bhi karna padega." Precisely that feeling. The third passage, definitely not at all an easy passage for anybody who has problems with science-based passages. Anybody who has a dislike for passages would have been absolutely sweating in this passage. Why? Because it is so long, 6 to 7 paragraphs. That's like you start reading this passage and at the back of your mind, a countdown timer starts that reminds you you're going to run out of time for the IFT verbal reasoning section. There is no fixed time. That's why I said it is recommended time. You have 4 questions. Because of the length of the passage, the questions might seem slightly more difficult than what they are. For example, not just the 12th, I believe even the 11th one was not so difficult, but then because of such a long passage, I have to call it a moderate question rather than an easy question. So 2 moderate questions, 1 easy question, 1 very difficult question, specifically the main idea. Why? Because that's the case in the previous passage as well as this passage. And the passage is so long, it's not very easy for people to pick up the main idea, because in a long passage, the author would have gone through probably multiple transitions in the description. That brings you to the last passage, risk taking by banks. Overall difficulty, I would call it easy to moderate. Why? Because this was, again, a very easy to read passage, pretty much a passage that you see in the newspapers. There was one direct question, but for those who want to judge the difficulty level of the passage on the basis of the difficulty of reading, this was definitely worth an attempt. For those who don't like indirect questions, this passage was a 50-50, because you can see there are 2 inferences and then there are 2 questions which are mentioned in the passage. In terms of your sequence of passages, for most of you who prefer to give a decent amount of effort to passages, this would definitely be among the 2 passages that you do on the test. We move to grammar-based questions, 10 grammar-based questions, out of which, as you can see, most of them were easy to moderate. Whether it was a sentence completion, no one wanted to purchase because it was in a bad condition, or hot potato, again, a very famous idiom. On the other hand, hit the hay is not such a famous idiom. You might have wanted to just skip that. Devil's advocate, I believe the answer choices were very close, specifically for someone who has never heard the idiom. So what would you do? Grammar-based questions, vocabulary-based questions. When you don't know the meanings, please don't waste your time. You go to another idiom, falling on deaf ears, extremely, extremely common, hence an easy one. We continue. We have 3 more sentence completion questions. A constitution and citizen question, which again was very easy depending on how do you understand what the sentence is talking about. There was 1 sentence completion by prepositions, chestnut tree, not an easy one without a doubt. And then there was 1 for compound conjunctions, which was fairly easy. So 24th, to be very honest, is a question type that is placed strategically for those who, when they are going in a flow, fail to understand that in a flow, after seeing 2 or 3 easy questions, you might stumble upon a difficult question. And if that is what happens, you should be able to identify that it's a difficult question and not waste your time further on it. So that's how it works. Then you had 2 sentence correction questions, split, 1 very easy question, 1 very difficult question. Photograph and description, you identify the error, you get the answer. Deeds of charity, you struggle with the overall vague construction of the sentence. I moved to verbal ability, specifically verbal logic questions, and I had 3 analogy questions, out of which I would call 2 of them very easy. Why? Because I said vocab empower. You want to target a good score on something like an IFT or an NMAT, you have to be ready with everything that we taught you in vocab empower. So replicate, simulate, easy. Why? Because you know the words. Proctor examination, you, instead of struggling of the first 3 answer choices, if you scroll down, the 4th answer choice is a direct answer. Salt and salty. Yeah. A challenging one for those who got attracted by fish and fishy. Fishy is not a taste. Fishy is the nature of something that is weird. Parajumbles on IFT are always a touch and go. People who are very, very strong with their parajumbles would want to attend them. People who are not so comfortable, and that too when you see parajumbles that have like 5 sentences, if you haven't been practicing from the modules, the elimination approach, an elimination approach that says go through the answer choices and understand whether you see a pattern. And if you see a pattern, then you should only focus on that particular sequence, not worry about which of those 5 or which of those 4 sentences will be the first sentence. So that would have helped. 30th, according to me, the easiest one because it feels like a story. The other 2 not so easy ones, even though Volkswagen was a 5-sentence parajumble and Karl Marx was a 4-sentence parajumble. That brings you to the last 2. Yeah, this should be 33 and 34. My bad. So 33 word meaning, 34 word meaning, nonplussed, again a vocab empower word. Gumption would have been a bit difficult for people, specifically because there was one more word in that sequence that for people who have a colloquial vocabulary usage, they would have been attracted to the second answer choice also. But fine, overall vocabulary was just supposed to be a filler. For anybody who wanted to attempt vocabulary would have looked at both the questions within 1 minute, attempted one and gotten one correct answer. So this is what your overall paper was. 16 easy questions, 12 moderate questions, and 6 difficult questions, out of which I would expect you to attempt around 20 questions and get me 16 correct. 3 marks for each correct answer, -1 for each incorrect. 16 correct, 4 incorrect would put you at 48 minus 4, an approximate good score of 44, which would have been wonderful on this paper, because that's what happens when IFT really gets into the easy to moderate mode. The cutoffs jump by around 6 to 10 points over the regular IFT paper. You saw EOM 1 IFT. There we gave you a tentative target of 33 to 34 because that was a moderate paper. This was an easy to moderate paper. The targets have to go up by around 8 to 10 marks. What should you have done? You could have taken one of the two approaches, because my preferred approach in this paper, when I see 18 questions that are non-RC, I know the paper is telling me that I should focus on verbal ability before I focus on RCs. So what would I have done? I would have definitely started with verbal ability. I would start with grammar questions, the largest chunk, 10 minutes, out of which I would have first focused on sentence completion. Then I would have gone to the sentence correction questions and then gone to idioms, because idioms are if either you know them or you don't know them. Sentence correction, I would have given a slight priority over idioms, only because they require some reading. If you take idioms before sentence correction, and if you confuse yourself too much in idioms, there's a very good chance that in sentence correction, even if you know what the correct answer is, or even if the sentence is easy, you tend to, because you are tired from idioms, you tend to not focus properly on sentence correction, miss out on the error, and thereby make a mistake. So 10 minutes, 8 attempts, 6 correct. Then I would have gone to verbal logic. In 6 to 8 minutes, I would have wanted to attempt 3 analogies and 2 parajumbles. That gives me 5 attempts, and I should have gotten 4 correct. Not a difficult choice at all. Then I would have gone to vocabulary, quickly looked at both the questions, attempted only 1 in 1 minute, and I would have gotten 1 correct. And then about the passages, just as I had explained when I was discussing passages, passage number 1 and passage number 4 should be the 2 passages at the top of my list. That is how I would end up at around 20 attempts with 16 correct in 33 to 35 minutes. Or maybe, just maybe, you still want to focus on RCs. If that is the case, this would be my recommendation. You start with the economic slowdown, passage number 1, give it a decent time to read, give it a decent time to solve, get 4 attempts and 3 correct, which is what I said in the previous slide also. Risk taking by banks, give it some time to read, maybe give it some time to solve also, because it's not such a lengthy passage. 3 attempts and 2 correct. Then you pick up the disruptive social media. That would be my recommendation, although some of you would have gone towards the astronomy passage, and I'm okay with that also. Either of the two, what I want is around 4 minutes to 4 minutes of reading, 3 minutes of solving, get me 3 attempts and 2 correct. Now, this might seem a bit challenging for some of you because it might be difficult to get 3 attempts and 2 correct in RCs in that particular passage. But then we don't have an option. You chose to start with RCs. So when you choose to start with RCs, it automatically means that RCs are your strength. If you're going with RCs only because they are the first questions that you see in the paper, that is such a wrong strategy. You have like 1.5 months for CAT, 50 days approximately for CAT, and you have another 60 days for the next set of exams after CAT. Please stop making this mistake. It should be only NMAT or any other exam where you can't change the sequence of questions, where you should go in the given sequence. Otherwise, if you're not selecting your questions, I really have no clue where will you end up. Anyways, so you finish those 3 passages in approximately I think 20 to 25 minutes, 24 minutes, you finished those three passages. And you have attended 10 questions, you have 7 correct. Then you move to grammar, again 6 to 7 minutes. This time you might want to give even less time to idioms or maybe one-word sentence completion. Get me 6 attempts and 5 correct in 6 to 7 minutes. Very, very possible because grammar had that number of easy questions. Vocabulary, just like the last time, a filler question. Verbal logic, obviously you have less time left. So 2 analogies and 1 parajumble. Get me 3 attempts and 3 correct. That is how you would have ended up with 20 attempts, 16 correct. Again, the same score of 44 is what I look forward to as a good score, something that would more or less boost your score enough to get you a call from IFT. Keep solving, keep preparing, keep shaping your strategy. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello students and welcome to the mock analysis of Endeavour Open Mock IFT2. So now we'll be doing the analysis of LRDI section in this part. How will we do the analysis? First we'll see the question that came from various topics. So what is the topic distribution for the question? Then we'll see which of these questions are easy, moderate and difficult to be solved. So you get an idea about which questions has to be solved and which are the difficult questions here. What are the expected attempts from this section, and from that expected attempts what is your expected score, and then we'll calculate your equivalent percentile from the score. So let's start. First we'll see the topic distribution here. So these are the topic from which you saw the questions coming. Set theory, there were 4 questions from this topic where you have to make the Venn diagram, then 1 question from input output. One was a tabular DI. So the DI was given in the form of a table, student performance. So 4 questions from that set. Caselet DI on bottles, 4 questions from this. Logical reasoning puzzle was given on arrangement. So 4 questions from this set. Then ranking, 1 question. Tournament, 1 question. Okay, number based puzzle, again you had 1 question from there. Then clocks, 1 question. Coding decoding had 1 question. Blood relation had 1 question. Then there was one more set of tabular DI. After student performance you had a set on crops. So 4 questions from there. And then there was a pie chart which had 2 questions and 1 question then from number series. Okay, so that is how the distribution topic was there for this section of LRDI. Okay, now let's enter and understand which of these are difficult, easy and moderate question to be solved. So this is the first question which I picked up. This is a set theory, 4 questions from this. So I would rate this to be as a difficult question, okay, because this is not a clear question where everything is given to you. Okay, so understand, in a survey of student choices, they were asked to choose between red or black and between sedan and SUV. Okay, so clearly it is not like some of them are like how we always solve. Okay, some students are playing cricket, some are football, some are hockey. So you can clearly make it. Okay, but this is not that clear. This is like they have to choose in between red or black or sedan or SUV. So it could be red sedan, okay, black SUV, or it could be red SUV or black sedan. Okay, so that is how the combination. And again, there are male and female here. So I would rate this question to be as difficult. A difficult question to be solved in exam. But in case you want to see the solution of it, the detailed solution of this is given in your mock solution. But let me just give an idea how to tackle this now. So you make 3 circles here, 1 for males, 1 for sedan, 1 for black. Okay, understand now what is given here. Out of total female students, 60 of them like black color. Okay, so I will say that what is 60? D plus G. Okay, what is D now? This is D, this is G. Okay, these are all female because these are all male. Okay, female student who like black color. So this is for black. Okay, this would include male black. Okay, FNE. But this would be female who like black. So D plus G is 60. Okay, similarly see this. Out of total students, 80 of them choose black sedan. Okay, which is black sedan. Okay, how many of them choose black as well as your sedan, which is D plus E. Okay, so this D plus E, black and sedan. You need the intersection of it. That's how you can make this. Similarly, check the third sentence. Out of the total number of males who choose sedan, 1/7 of those were red. Okay, so total number of males who choose sedan are how many? B. Okay, 1/7 of that were red. Okay, so total number of males choosing sedan are this actually, B plus E. Okay, 1/7 of that choose red. Okay, which means B, because this is black sedan. So B is equals to B plus E divided by 7. Okay, that's how you can make all the equations here and reach on to the answer. But again, thinking about this is difficult. Okay, so I would rate this 4 question to be as difficult question to be solved. Okay, the detailed analysis of this will be given in your mock solution, but for the time being, I just gave you an idea about what to expect from this question. See now the next question which is there. This is a question on input output. Okay, so you have to check the logic. I can clearly see it is ascending order 22, 43, 58, 61, 77 and 83. Okay, so this I would rate to be as an easy question because this can be easily solved. There is one question only on it. Let's come on to now next tabular DI puzzle and how do you deal with this. So again I would rate this as easy because the values that are given here and the question that are asked from this is pretty easy. Okay, so let's see. A professor created a report of his students about their performance on midterm test. Students were graded on the basis of their marks. Partially filled table is given below with some information. Okay, so what is this partially filled information? So the number of males who got grade C are 35. Total number of females are 60. Okay. This 60 is distributed among females who got grade A, grade B and grade C. Similarly, total number of students who got grade B are 40. This is given. It was a surprise test. Half of the class could only manage C grade. Okay. 57.14% of the students were male. Okay, this tells me what? 1 by 7 is what? 14.28. If I do this 4 by 7, that is equals to 57.14. Okay, these are the number of males. So what will be the number of females then? 3 by 7. Okay, 3 by 7 would be the number of males. 3 by 7 of the total number is equals to 60. Okay, so what is the total number of students in the class? Okay, 3 ones are 3, 20s are 20 into 7. So this becomes 140. Okay, as soon as this becomes 140, the problem becomes very easy. Okay, this will be what then? This would be 80 now. So this becomes 80. Okay, what else? 25% of the males got grade A. So out of the total number of males, 25% would be what? 1/4. 1/4 of this is 20. So 20 comes here. Okay, 20 is here, 35 is here. So I can now make this table. Okay, I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this. Okay, and I know this as well. So I can now easily create this table by putting here, okay, this will be 25 because the sum has to be 80, so I put this as 25. Okay, similarly I'll get this has to be 15 because the sum of this is 40. Okay, what else do I know? Yeah, 50% of the class could manage C grade. Okay, so 70 got C grade. Total number of students are 140. Okay, so this would be what? 35. Okay, so that's how I make this as well. Now since this is 60, 35, 40, 50, so this has to be 10, so this becomes 30. Okay, that's how easily I can create this table. And once you create the table, all the 4 questions can be easily solved. Okay, so I would rate this question as easy question because the values here are quite easy. Okay, let's now come on to the next question, which is about a caselet DI. Okay, so what is given here? Mr. Ramesh supplies 2000 bottles to a merchant. He has 2 options for checking the leakage in the bottle. In test 1, he requires to pay 4 rupees per bottle to perform the seal test, but his success rate in identifying the leak is only 80%. Okay, so he has 20,000 bottles to check. He is giving this to some company. The company is charging him 4 rupees per bottle to check, but the check is not 100% since the money is less. Only 80% of the total bottle that they are checking, they are able to identify it successfully. Okay, so success rate is only 80%. Then there is test 2 where he is paying rupees 6 per bottle, but the success rate is 100%. Okay, so you won't see any bottle that is going as a leak. Okay, all the bottles will be successfully checked. Here there is a chance that 20% of the bottle could be missed just because you are paying less. Okay, that could be the reason. If the leak is found, okay, if the leak is found before selling, then it needs to be rectified with rupees 50. And if the bottle is found to leak after being sold, then it is charged 100 as a penalty for each of the bottle that leaks. Okay, so if you still find the leak after the test, so there is something part of a money that you have to pay, 50 rupees per bottle, and if it has been sold before selling and after selling, so that will be 100 rupees. So I would rate this again question as difficult because you will have to think about a lot of factors that are involved here. Okay, and the question again is not straight. Okay, so let's understand. I'll help you understand the first question so that you can understand the rest of them. Okay, why am I rating this to be as difficult? So the first question says how many defective bottles should be there so that there is no difference between test 1 and test 2. So the money required, the money paid for test 1 and test 2 is equal. So how many bottles should be there? Okay, so understand what will happen in test 1. Let the number of defective bottles be D. 2000 bottles are there. 4 rupees he is paying per bottle. Okay, so the total amount he is paying is 8000. Now defective bottles. Okay, 80% is the efficiency of this test. Okay, so if the number of defective bottles are D, 80% of that will be detected. Okay, that's what is given here, and he has to pay what now? 50 rupees. If the leak is found before selling, then it can be rectified as 50 rupees per bottle. Okay, so multiplying this by 50. Okay, because for these many defective bottles, if the leak is found, he has to pay 50 rupees per bottle before the selling. Okay, because he has given it to some company. They check the defective bottles. Okay, these many are defective bottles. For these many defective bottles, you pay 50 because it is before selling. But 20% of the bottle are not detected, which means they are already sold. If they are sold, then the penalty would be rupees 100. So whatever is the defective number of bottles, 20% of that per bottle you will have to pay 100. So this is what he will have to pay, okay, for test 1. But for test 2, 6 rupees per bottle and 100% efficacy, which means all the defective bottles that are being detected, he will have to pay 50 rupees for that. Okay, so D into 50. Now we substitute the option here. Okay, if the value of D is 200, okay, so for test 1 this will be the cost. Just substitute D as 200 here. Test 1 this will be the cost. Okay, if the D is 200 for test 2, this will be the cost. Okay, similarly take D as 300, test 1, test 2. D as 400, test 1, test 2. Check. Only when D is 400, the value for test 1 is equal to the value for test 2. That's what is being asked here. Okay, for what value of defective bottle there is no difference between test 1 and test 2. Okay, that is 400 is the value. Okay, but for that you have to think this. Okay, if you are able to get this, then it's an easy question. If you are not able to get this part, if you are not able to understand what actually is being said in this case, then it becomes a difficult question. Okay, if you get it, then solving is easy. Okay, and this similarly you can go for rest of the question as well. I am not giving you a detailed explanation right now. You can check it in the mock solution. Each and every question is solved completely. Okay, I am just giving an idea about why am I calling this to be as a difficult question and when can it become an easy question. See the next question now, which is a logical reasoning puzzle. I would rate this to be as a moderate question because the conditions given here are quite easy. Okay, you can easily solve this question. Okay, so let's read. Bowman Saini, who is going for an education startup, okay, wants to form a team of 5 educators in the field of quantitative aptitude and verbal ability. He is given the list of candidates who have qualified in the written test. Educators RSTW qualified for quants and educators this qualified for verbal ability. Out of this, educators only this 3 have an MBA. It is known that Bowman required 2 of MBA. Further, the condition that P and T can't work together, then this, then this, then this, then this. Okay, so some conditions are given and from that you have to make a team. Okay, so it's quite easy if you read the condition well. Okay, 2 are MBA that he needs quant, verbal, 2 of them has to be MBA, and these are the people who can or cannot work together. So now if you can see the question, how many teams can be formed? Okay, so given the condition, you can clearly say that 3 teams can be formed. Again, the detailed analysis of this is given in your mock solution. Currently, I am just telling you that it's a moderate question to be solved. Okay, so given the condition, all these 4 questions can be solved easily. So I would rate this question as a moderate question which should be solved in exam. Okay, it would be time consuming, yes, a little bit of time it will take it, because you have to check the permutation, you have to read the condition, and then you have to reach on to the answer. So it will take time. Okay, moderate but time consuming, but you should get the answer to this. Okay, so you can keep it in moderate to time consuming part. Let's come on to the next question, which is on ranking. Okay, Aman is 25th from the left and Chandu is 28th from the right, and there are 22 students in between them. Then find the total number of students. Okay, so Aman is 25th from the left, so there are 24 students here left of him, and Chandu is 28th from the right. Okay, he's 28th from the right, so there are 28 students here. Okay, and then there are 22 students who are there in between them. Okay, so total number of students are what? So 27 to the left of this, 24 here, plus this 2, okay, which is 2, okay, because you are not considering them, plus the 22 in between them. So total number of students becomes 75. Okay, so I would say this to be as an easy to moderate question, a question that should be solved in exam. Okay, let's check this. In a knockout tournament, 79 students signed up. All the players were paired up in each round, and if a player was left without pairing, then he was given a bye. Okay, if the tournament is planned such that the minimum matches are to be scheduled, then how many matches were to be played? Minimum matches, right? So you understand that the question is simple. For one player to win the tournament, 78 players must lose. Okay, he should beat the 78 players. So the minimum number of matches required are 78, and the correct option here is B. Okay, so again, an moderate question. Okay, not time consuming, moderate question, okay, which should be solved in exam. Then this is the next question. The secret agency formed a code which was in the form of a 2-digit number, which was passed from headquarters to agent on a paper. They found out that there was an issue with the code, that 8, if read upside down, could be understood as 18. Okay, 81, if read upside down, could be understood as 18. So they deleted all such numbers to avoid confusion. Then how many different codes will be left with? So understand, it's a 2-digit number. The total number of 2-digit numbers are 90. Okay, out of which numbers formed by the digits 1, 6, 8, 9 would create confusion. Okay, because if you read them upside down, they would create confusion. 6 would look 9. Okay, similarly 8 can create confusion. How we created with 81 and 18. Okay, so if 1 is combined with 6, 8 and then 9, it will start to create confusion. So the number which are creating confusion, there are 16 such numbers. Okay, such numbers, out of which this will not create confusion. Okay, if you put them, they will not create confusion. 11 is 11 only, 88 would be 88 only. Okay, this would not. So take out the 4 from here. So 90 minus 16 plus 4, add this 4 which are not creating confusion. So total number of numbers are 78. Okay, again the detailed explanation for this you can check it in the mock solution, but again I would say this to be as a moderate question which would be time consuming, yes, because you will have to think of all this permutation before you reach on to the answer. So not a straight answer, but could be solved. Okay, a question that should be solved in exam. Let's check this now, a question from clock. When Mr. Rahul went for shopping between 4 to 5 and the angle was 90 degree, and when he came back after some time, he found that both the conditions still are existing. For how long was he out? Okay, so from the given condition, it can be concluded that initially the minute hand be 90 degree behind. When he comes back, it would be 90 degrees ahead. Okay, so the relative distance would be 180 degree. And the minute hand covers 11/2 degree each minute. So the time taken would be this. Okay, hence the correct option would be D. Okay, again I am just running through this question, but it can easily be solved. Again a moderate question. The detailed explanation for this you can check it in the mock solution. So again a moderate but time consuming. Again you will have to think here. Then only you can reach on to the answer. Okay, moderate but time consuming, but should be solved in exam. Now we come on to the next question, which is on coding decoding. So in a certain language, yellow is coded as this. How will you code August? Okay, so just check it. How can you code yellow as this? So in this coding question, the first 3 alphabet are written in the last 3 places in the code after adding 1. Okay, and the last 3 alphabets occupy the first 3 places while subtracting 1. Okay, so quite self-explanatory. If you put this explanation in this, you will get this. So same rule can be applied to the August and you can reach on to the answer. Okay, this is solved in your solution, but for the time being, just understand from this part. So again, a moderate question. Time consuming, yes, time consuming but moderate, that should be solved, which will give you the answer here as option number A. Now the next tabular based DI question that was asked in the mock. So below is a table given with the total production of different crops in Gujarat, million tons. So 2014 the production of wheat is this, 2016 the production of pulses is this, and then so on, okay, for different crops. And now answer the question here. So I would rate this question as moderate because it's easy to understand. The values are also not that very difficult, as well as the question asked are very easy. Okay, so highest annual growth rate for any of the crop was in which year? So check out the option. This is clearly a question on percentage increase, and you will find that option C would be the right answer. Okay, so you have to just check it here and apply the basic concept of percentage growth to reach on to the answer here. What is the average annual growth rate from rice over the period? Okay, so this, it was this much, increased to this much. Okay, so you can check it here. For the given period, rice is, where is rice? Yeah, from this much, okay, it became this much. So that is what is being given here. Average annual growth rate of rice over the given period. So it increased to this, to this. Okay, so annual growth rate, whatever is the answer, you divide it by 6. Whatever is the growth rate, first you find out what is a growth rate, then it is an annual growth rate, so divide it by 6. Okay, you will get to the answer. Again, the detailed explanation you can check in solution. Which of the following crop has the highest growth from 14 to 20? Okay, so just check the growth for all the crop by comparing from 14 to 20, and you will find out that the answer here is option number B. So again, an easy question to be solved. Okay, which year had the highest percentage growth over the previous year for the total production in Gujarat? So for this, you will have to check for all the years. Okay, so this would be one question which required you to spend your time in exam. Okay, so moderate but time consuming is what you can put it in this section of tabular DI. Okay, but it should be solved in exam. It will consume time, but surely it will give you answers. Let's see the next question now. This is a question on blood relation. Okay, which is an easy question. If you read this, okay, clearly you will get the answer here as C. So an easy question that should be solved. Now we come on to a question which is on pie chart. Okay, so I would again rate this question as moderate. Okay, not difficult because it's easy to understand the chart here. Study the following pie chart which gives the breakup of the market share of 6 different brands, 2019 and 2020. 2019 it is in terms of degree, 2020 it is in terms of percentage. It's all about market share of different brands here. So, okay, so you can convert your degree to percentage or percentage to degree, whatever is required according to the question. So as I said, I would rate this question as moderate. Okay, and see how the question is being asked here. This is also easy. The total market size of this 6 mobile brand was this much dollar in 2019. So if you give me the total market, I can tell you the market share of each of the brand. Right? If you tell me the total. If because of pandemic the market shrank by 20%, then by how much percent point did the market size of MI shrink from 2019 to 2020? Okay, MI in 2019 was 23%. In 2020, the market share was this much. Okay, converting it to percentage. So 2019 it was this much, 2020 it was this much. The change would be this much. Okay, hence the correct answer here is option number B. Okay, so very easy question to be solved, moderate but not time consuming. Okay, you can solve this easily. And similar is the next question which can ask you, which is asking you the average, okay, which can again be solved. So a moderate question. Now this is the last question which I would again rate it as moderate, a question on number series. Okay, so if you check the logic, you will get the answer here as B. So now let us check the expected attempts and the equivalent percentile that you can expect from this paper. So we have already classified the question as easy, moderate, time consuming and difficult. So these are the classification here. The total number of questions here are 30. So expected attempt from easy 8, I'm expecting you to do 6 correct. From 7 here, 5 correct. 7 here, 5 attempts. Okay, not correct. These are all attempts. So again, from 8 questions, 4 attempts. Okay, so expected attempts would be somewhere around 20. Okay, out of that, if we take 80% of the accuracy, which means 80% of 20, 16 question. If we think that out of 20 that you have attempted, you are doing 16 correct. So 16 into 3 would be 48. And since you had done 4 questions wrong here, so negative marking minus 4. 44 is what is a good score in this paper. That would fetch you a percentile which is 98 percentile, okay, around 98 percentile. So this is what is something that is expected from you in this paper. Okay, and now if you can get more number of them correct, like higher accuracy 17 correct, so 17 into 3, 51, then you can subtract 3, somewhere around 48, 49, 50 will give you 99 percentile. Okay, and similarly if you are going for a 95 percentile, let's say that out of 20 you got 15 correct. Okay, so 15 into 3 would be 45. 45 minus 5, somewhere around 38 to 40 marks will fetch you 95 percentile, and then so on. Okay, so ideally I am expecting out of 30 questions, you at least attempt 20 to 18, okay, in this range, and get around 15 questions at least to be as correct. Okay, if you can get more than this, nothing like it, but at least go till 15 questions. Okay, even if you go there, you are reaching 40. Okay, 40, which means you are here somewhere around 97 to 98 percentile. Okay, and that is a good score in this paper.
This is the analysis of GK section in IFT Mock 2. This analysis is going to follow the similar pattern where we will start with the topic distribution. In topic distribution, we will see that how many questions in this mock test came from which area. After that, we will classify questions on the basis of their level of difficulty into easy, moderate, and difficult. These two will be followed by what should have been a good score and a good attempt for a reasonably well-prepared student in this mock. So let us start with the first topic, that is topic distribution of the questions in IFT Mock 2. If you look at the 20 questions of GK in this mock, these 20 questions were divided into current affairs and static GK. There were 12 questions from current affairs and 8 questions from static GK. So in that sense, a GK section of this mock was slightly more tilted towards current affairs. Here you should know that any GK section with higher number of current affair questions becomes relatively easier. Now going deeper into current affairs, the topics asked were 4 questions from international events. So I keep on telling you during my GK lectures that international events or international news is one of the favorite topics for IFT exam. After international events, there were 3 questions from sports. All 3 were easy questions. 2 questions from government policies and schemes, and 1 question each based on awards and recognitions, persons in news, and reports and ranks. So this was the classification of current affairs questions in this mock. Looking at static GK questions, out of the 8 static GK questions, 50%, that is 4 questions, were from business awareness and economy. This is also expected because in MBA entrance examination, this becomes a very, very important area. Then there were 2 questions from geography and 2 questions based on famous personalities from India, a famous Indian photographer, and another was an award-winning author from India. So this was the distribution of topic of 20 GK questions in this mock. Let us now look at the divisions of these 20 questions on the basis of their level of difficulty. So in terms of level of difficulty, there were 6 questions which were very easy, and an equal number of questions can be termed as quite difficult. So please remember one thing here, that in IFT GK question, the difficult questions should be skipped because IFT have a tendency of asking some very difficult questions. Taking unnecessary risk in these difficult questions can lead to a negative marking. So you should straight away leave these difficult questions. You should focus all your energies and attention towards getting easy questions correct. Then moderate questions should be attempted depending upon what is your overall performance in the GK section. So for example, if you are anyway getting 4 to 5 easy questions correct, then there is no need to take an unnecessary risk in moderate section. But if you are not getting any questions, or if you are not getting 3 or 4 questions correct, then there is no other option but to take chances in easy questions as well as moderate questions. So this is how you should plan your GK section in IFT exam. Let me give you a sample of some of the easy and some of the difficult questions in IFT GK. So let us start with easy question. In this mock, within GK section, there were 3 questions which were match the following type of questions. And all 3 were easy questions. Match the following type of questions are generally easy. So this is the type of question that you should attempt first in any exam, because these are generally the questions with a lot of hints. So in this mock, there were 3 questions. One was about matching sportswomen with their sporting discipline. And there were names like Rani Rampal, Manika Batra, and Lavlina Borgohain. All very familiar names, all very famous names, thanks to their participation and also victory in Olympics. So a very easy question. Then there was another question where you need to match brands with their taglines. Once again, there were famous brands like L'Oreal. So this was also an easy question. And the third question was matching countries with their capitals. Then there was a question about which state Majuli River Island is situated in. So I think this is another easy question because Majuli is a very famous river island situated in Assam. There was a question based on relationship between increase in demand of the money in market and interest rate on bank loans. This was more like a common sense type of question. So not very difficult, in fact, very easy. Then there was one question based on identification of a company which does not have its headquarters in India. So there were the names of 4 companies given. A student had to identify which one of the 4 is not an India-based company. 3 companies out of the 4 names given, 3 companies were well-known Indian firms like Suzlon Energy, Ranbaxy, and Welspun. So these 3 are Indian companies, and the correct answer of this question was Kingsoft, which is a software company based in China. So these were easy questions. All right. Next are the 6 difficult questions. So there was a question on identifying the winner of Taylor Prize for environmental achievement. The point is that all the 4 options given were prominent environmentalists from India. So that ruled out any guesswork. So unless you know the answer precisely, you should not have guessed this question. Then there was a question based on a fight or a war-like situation which was created in Mediterranean Sea last year between Turkey and Greece. Once again, not many students know about this. Then there was a question about identifying one of the 4 Indian authors which is not a winner of Booker Prize. Once again, a difficult question because you should have known the history and track record of all the 4 options given, and only then you could have attempted this question. Then there were questions based on a very famous American judge, Bader Ginsburg, also known as Notorious RBG, who passed away last year. So it is also a very domain-specific type of question. So not many students had an idea that who is Notorious RBG and which field was she associated with. Then there was a question about who was appointed as the head of Government of India's Data Privacy Commission. And one question was about correctly identifying the sequence of Indian billionaires. So once again, unless you have a very precise idea, any guesswork could also lead to negative marks here. So in all, these are the 6 questions that you should have skipped or you should have left unattempted. In the final part, 8 to 10 minutes should have been spent to scan the GK section, to scan those 20 questions, to identify which are the easy and which are the difficult questions. For a reasonably well-prepared student, 5 to 6 easy questions plus 4 to 5 moderate questions should have led to 8 to 10 good attempts. So anyone with 8 to 10 attempts out of 20 questions in this mock test, right, and with an accuracy of almost 70 to 80%, if you are getting 5 to 6 questions correct, you have done well in this section. All right. So any score more than 5 marks is a good score in GK section of this particular IFT mock. So guys, this is it in the GK analysis of IFT mock 2.
And now for the quant section. A tough paper, I believe, a good paper, let's say, let's not call it tough, let's say a good paper. Let's begin with the topic-wise distribution. Algebra had 8 questions. I'll include trigonometry in algebra, advanced algebra, because it was more of an equation solving. There are 2 questions from linear equation, one easy and one moderate. Set theory, just 1 question, a difficult one. Functions at 3 questions, 2 difficult and 1 very difficult or lengthy. Inequalities and spatial properties, 1 difficult question from there and a very difficult trigonometric question. So that was these 8 of algebra. Arithmetic at 12 questions. Numbers 2 questions, both moderate. Permutation and combination, there was just 1 moderate question. Probability 1 difficult. Simple interest, compound interest questions on installments 2, both of them moderate. 3 questions on time and work, out of which 2 were moderate and 1 was difficult. Time, speed, distance 2, 1 moderate, 1 difficult. There's 1 miscellaneous or clocks and calendars after a long time, easy one. Geometry, there were 5. A lot of mensuration this time. 2 moderate, 1 difficult, and 2 very difficult or lengthy. So that made up a total of 25 questions. Now, let's see the number of easy, moderate, and difficult questions. There were 2 easy questions total. Moderate, there were 11. Difficult, 8. And very difficult or lengthy would be just 4. So easy questions were quite few this time, just 2. Let's look at these questions and whether you should have solved them or not. Obviously, the 2 easy questions should have been solved. You should have been able to identify this as easy also. Linear equations. A company plans a new smartphone and sells it at a price of ₹12 per unit. The variable costs per unit is estimated to be 40% of the selling price. So selling price is given and 40% of that as the variable cost. So obviously the 60% goes towards the fixed costs. And the total fixed cost is estimated to be 3,600. Based on this estimated cost, how many units should the new phone will the company need to manufacture to break even? So the company needs to break even. And what is that number? That was the question. A very simple question. Maybe can be solved almost mentally. If not mentally, still it can be done quite fast. Next easier one was the clocks and calendars. At what time between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock AM are the 2 arms of a watch at 90 degrees to each other, perpendicular to each other? Simple equation based. At least we could not go by options, but it was very simple in solving. Anybody who knows the equation will get this. So a very easy question. The moderate questions, 11. 2 on numbers and 2 on simple interest, compound interest. Numbers, in a class, students get chocolates according to their roll number. Everybody gets, the first roll number will get 1, second, 2, third, 3, and so on. Unluckily, a total of 1,224 chocolates, 1,224 chocolates were distributed. And why? Because one student got 3 times as many as he should have got. So we had to find the roll number of this. So just finding out sigma n, which is the closest sigma n, and what is the extra chocolates, that would give you quickly the answer. Just estimating that could have been a little lengthy, so moderate, otherwise quite easy. Just estimating what could be the number of children, students in the class, that could have been a little time consuming. Of course, there's a good estimate also for that. Anyway, the next numbers was if a number 10 raised to 5 minus 599, obviously that is 99,401, is written as an integer in base 5 notation, what is the summation of the digits? Easy and short for those who know the method. In general, moderate, because there would be some people, I believe, who might not remember the method, because base systems has been quite a long time. Just convert to base 5 and there would be an answer. Simple interest. Mr. M borrows 5 lakhs from a money lender, agrees to repay the principal of his loan equally over 20 years. The principal is being paid equally over 20 years. That means 5% would be paid back every year. Simple interest is at the rate of 6%. There was some additional information, probably just to make the question a little bit moderate rather than easy. That he additionally takes a loan of some 9 lakh rupees. And then the question is only regarding the interest to be calculated on the borrowings, initial borrowings only. So that additional data was not to be used. That was the only thing that might take away some time in your haste to decide whether it was to be used or not to be used. So a moderate question. For those who realize that there is an AP, that could be quite easy. Calculation wise, it was easy. Another simple interest, a loan of 1,11,111 is to be repaid in 3 installments, but not each equal. Each installment is 20% more than the previous one. And rate of interest is also 20%. So usually their questions on installments may be considered moderate, just because there might be a little bit of calculation sometimes. Luckily, here installment is also 20% more and rate of interest is 20%. Calculations would become very easy. So that could have become easy that way. Calculation wise, this was easy. Permutation and combination, one question. The total number of 5-digit numbers that can be formed having at least one of their digits repeated. Quite a standard sort of a classroom type of a question, a textbook type of a question. Maybe just because of the method, I'm putting it as moderate. Otherwise, this would be more like an easy because it has been done once at least. So moderate question in general. All you have to do was total number of numbers minus those which are with a repetition would give you those without a repetition. Minus those without a repetition will give you those with repetition. 2 questions on time in work. A group of students decides to clean a village in a fortnight. 2 students joined every day from the second day. So first day, the same group which started worked. From next day onwards, every day 2 students would join. And the work was completed within a week rather than 7 days, 14 days. So how many students started? Quite an easy question. Just setting up the situation, deriving some equations would take some time. That's why moderate. Otherwise, again, good for calculations. The next one was A, B, and C can complete a work individually in 10, 20, 30 days. They started together, but C left 3 days after 3 days, and A left 2 days before the work was completed. A very standard type of a question again. So in how many days will the work be completed, or was it completed? Good enough. Time, speed, and distance. There were 2 questions. One is this moderate. Ranbir and Alia start simultaneously from their homes for Film City. 20 kilometers away, distance is given. Ranbir took 20 minutes to reach. You know his speed, distance, you know his time. Maybe you can calculate his speed if needed. Alia is still 4 kilometers away. So again, you know, 4 kilometers away, that means 16 kilometers is traveled in the same 20 minutes. Next day, Ranbir complained. So Alia decided to start 10 minutes early. If they drive at the same speed as the previous day, when will run be reached? There were 4 options. 120 minutes before Alia, after Alia, 300 minutes before Alia, after Alia. So all you have to do was select those numbers, whether before or after, or that number. Mensuration, 2 questions. A water tank internally measuring 100 centimeters by 120 centimeters by 400 centimeters has 750,000 cubic centimeters of water. So it is partially filled. Sandbags are placed in the water until the tank is full. Each sandbag absorbs water, which is 1/10 of its volume. So how many sandbags of 500 cubic centimeters can be put in the tank without spilling water? So just take the efficiency of the sandbag as 90%, or you can say the volume, effective volume of the sandbag will be 90% of 500, and calculate how many bags are required. Very easy as such. Moderate just because of the language, because of the numbers, which is partially filled tank. So for those who are afraid of geometry, afraid of mensuration, the very name, such mensuration, area, volume, could be a little bit frightening. So because of that, moderate, otherwise quite an easy question. A good question about the area of a quadrilateral. In a square PQRS, A and B are 2 points on PS and SR, such that PA is 3 times AS and BRRB is 3 times BS. If PQ is 8, the side of the square is 8, the area of this quadrilateral SAQB is what? Quite good. All you have to do was form 2 triangles, and very quickly you will have the area. Linear equations. The second one. 2 types of chocolates, cream and brim, are manufactured by a company. Cream contains 5% sugar and 10% choco, whereas brim contains 10% sugar and 6% choco. For producing this, the company requires at the maximum of 14 grams of sugar and 14 grams of choco. If cream and brim cost rupees 21 per gram and rupees 15 per gram, what is the maximum cost that can be there, can happen to the company? So just you have to form 2 equations in that and decide the weights by linear equation. Okay. The next were the difficult questions. 8 of them. Functions. 2 functions questions. If h of x is 1 upon k of x, then the maximum value of h of x plus k of x, given that h of x and k of x are both less than 0, negative. So what will be the maximum value? I'm putting this as difficult because it is in the format of a function. For those who can identify the crux of the question, this is an easy standard question. H of x and k of x are reciprocals. H of x is 1 upon k of x. Sum of 2 reciprocals. Y plus 1 upon y, x plus 1 upon x, or something like a upon b plus b upon a. And yes, they are negative, but the values h and k are negative. So what is the maximum value? If they were positive, they would be you would be asked the minimum value. So very good enough, fair enough. Difficult just because it is put in a format which is not easily identified. It's something like camouflaged question. An easy question camouflaged to look difficult. The other was find the domain of the function. Domain. The function is f of x or y is equal to logarithm to the base 10 of x minus 5 upon x square minus 10x plus 24. And then there's a minus of a square root. So 2 things. One is a root. The other is a logarithm. Logarithms are defined only for positive numbers, you know that. So it should be positive. That was the crux. And your another limit, a root should always be positive. And a root should be non-negative, rather it can be 0 or positive. So combining this two would give you the domain of the function. So yes, it was a little difficult that way, because even in the logarithm, you have to use inequalities. It is not a simple term. It is x minus 5 upon x square minus 10x plus 24, which obviously is x minus 4 into x minus 6. But still realizing that, finding the domain, little difficult. The next was inequalities and spatial properties. A company produces X units of a product at a cost of x cube plus 23x square plus 3x plus 4. So one expression is given for the production. And then selling also, there is another expression. So at what level of profit will the profit per unit be the minimum? So there was a question of minima, cubical equations, finding out something about the roots, equating the two. Or first thing you do is sell price minus cost price, and then finding the minimum value of that. The next was set theory. 3 sets are given. A is defined as some element. All the elements of A are defined like in the roster format. B is defined, C is defined. And then you are asked, find the number of elements. Find the number of proper subsets of A intersection C union B minus A intersection B union C plus A intersection B intersection C. So finding the number of elements of this part was a little lengthy. Time and work, a difficult question. A painter can paint a wall of hexagonal shape with 4 meters longest diagonal in root 3 minutes. How many minutes will it take him to paint a semicircle of radius 6 root 7 meters? Difficult, because again, from the longest diagonal, we calculate the side of the hexagon, the area of the hexagon, compare it with his speed, find something regarding his speed of painting, then go into the semicircle, find the area, and again calculate the time required there. So a little lengthy, maybe a little difficult. One from time, speed, and distance. A little irritating type of a question with a few variables. But after framing the equations, if you go by the options, not very difficult. A ferry goes from Mumbai to Alibag and comes back. Now, 20% less passengers are there from when it is going from Mumbai to Alibag. Mumbai to Alibag is with the flow, and it has less passengers than usual. So the owner of the boat is able to increase the speed of the boat by 40%. So it is going with the flow downstream 40% at 40% higher speed than usual. Now on the return trip, there are 30% less passengers. So the speed is increased by 60%. That would be the upstream speed. So boat itself speed is increased by 60%. Combined with the stream of the river stream speed, it will give you some upstream speed. Now by increasing the speed both the ways, the owner of the boat was able to travel in 50% of the time. So what is the approximate ratio of the speed of the ferry in still water to that speed of the current? Just lengthy question, lot of data. The passengers, 20% less passengers, 30% less passengers was not to be used at all. The only words were important is the increase in the speeds. And then framing those equations and trying to solve them would be difficult. So again, if we can go by the options after framing the questions, it still becomes a bit manageable. But this question otherwise could have been left. Probability. Difficult to probably know what the type of question is. Quite easy otherwise in application. A cake manufacturer delivers cakes by 3 different modes of transport: bike, scooter, and tempo, with their probabilities being 2 by 7, 1 by 7, 4 by 7. At least that part is 1. Total is 1. Total probability of that is 1. So there are only these 3. The probabilities of delivering the cake on time are now given: 2 by 11, 4 by 11, 5 by 11. The best part of this question was that all the fractions have at least the same number, 11. So calculations would become a bit easy. So if the cake reaches late, find the probability that the scooter was used. So it is now using the Bayes law. So that requires knowledge of the law, application. And of course, calculations were not difficult because the numbers, the denominators were the same everywhere. Even in the selection of the mode, 2 by 7, 1 by 7, 4 by 7, that everywhere is 7, 11 is same. So those, and ultimately when you want a probability, those numbers would be eliminated. So calculations will become easy for those who know how to apply. Mensuration. A parallelogram PQRS has sides PQ, which is 21, and PS 29. So 2 adjacent sides are given. 2 perpendiculars are dropped from P to the sides QR, meeting it at A, and RS, meeting it at B. So from vertex, one vertex, obviously you cannot drop a perpendicular to the touching sides. So to the other 2 sides, you're dropping 2 perpendiculars. What is the ratio of the air triangles PAQ and PBS? So drawing the figure sometimes will take a time. You need to draw it in such a way that you can have 2 possible perpendiculars. And then, of course, calculation of the area was done. So making a proper drawing would take away some time. Calculations may not be very, very lengthy, good enough for the calculations. Understanding that, yes, similarity of triangles is to be used was more important here. The very difficult or the lengthy ones. Functions. This would be more difficult rather than lengthy in solving. It was more difficult in its concept. What is the perimeter of the region bounded by modulus of x plus 2 plus modulus of y minus 2 is equal to 100? Perimeter of the region. So where would this region be? How would you draw the sides? What type of a figure will it result into? That might be a little bit in dark. So maybe a lot of people might want to leave this question. For those who know the shifting of graphs, this was an easy question. Easy for those who only know shifting of graphs. And of course, those who know that mod x plus mod y would be what type of a figure. If you realize that mod x plus mod y is a square of a particular size, and you want the perimeter, calculations were quite easy for those who know this. Otherwise, drawing the figure is not possible in an exam, not worth drawing a figure in an exam, getting all the 4 sides of the square. So difficult and very difficult, lengthy that way. So should have been avoided. Trigonometry. For those who remember the use of this, yes, it is just a matter of application of theory. But I believe the number would be quite small. The number of students who would do this is small. So what is the minimum value of 28 sin x plus 96 cos x? Only can be done if you know the theory. So I'm sure I do not need to tell others, leave this. Everybody would have left this if they don't know how to do it. No guessing work would do here. Okay, coordinate geometry. The area of a triangle is 60 units and it is formed by the points, 3 points are mentioned. all of them have got a variable p, comma 3 minus 2p, 1 minus p comma 2p, and minus 4 minus p comma 5 minus 3p. So 3 points are all dependent on p. Now the question is, how many integral values of p are possible to have an area 60? So this is again coordinate geometry, knowing the equation of the triangle, how to apply it with variables, not just this time you don't have numbers. All of these things will make this lengthy and difficult also. The last difficult, very difficult, lengthy question was on mensuration. Not only that it was mensuration, probably it was more of 6 lines to read and understand. All the time would make it lengthy. Ram rents a farm from Shyam, ties a cow to a post with a rope of 10 feet. Now the annual rent of the farm, putting a cow there, is proportional to the area that the cow can graze upon, and is calculated to be 1200. So we don't need to worry how it is calculated. It is 1200. Now Ram, after this, also wants to build a 7 feet by 5 feet rectangular shade. Okay, so Shyam agrees, but then he wants the rent for that. So he says, I'll charge you a rent of 100 rupees per square feet. What should be the modified rent? The question now is, what should be the modified rent? Why would the rent be modified? 1200 for the cow and some area for the shed, and multiply by 100, that for the shed. Why would it need modification? The rectangle that he builds, the shed that he builds, has the post as one of the corners. The question says that the post should be at one of the corners of the shed. So the only problem is, if the cow is tied outside the shed at one of the corners, it cannot move around in the full circle that it otherwise would have been. Some area is now reduced. The cow cannot graze in the area that it was initially planned. So because the grazing area has been reduced, the rent for that part should be reduced, because the question says the annual rent is proportional to the area the cow can graze. So understanding this, calculating the new area, finding out the rent for that, yes, difficult, lengthy. A little difficult and a little lengthy too. And it is not just a simple structure. The rope can bend around the 2 corners. That was the more important part. So that is what made it a little difficult, more difficult than usual. So these were the 25 questions. Now, let us see the number of attempts that could have been made. There are 2 easy questions that we saw. They should have been identified and attempted, both. Out of the 11 moderate ones, maybe we thought 2 were difficult, maybe not our strength, but 9 should have been attempted. 9 out of those 11. And out of the difficult, 2 should be attempted. 8 difficult, 2 should be attempted. Again, remember, I'm not talking about just everybody. This is for a very good score. A good score would probably mean that, yes, you want an admission. So if you need an admission, yes, you need to attempt a few difficult ones also. One more thing, of course, we'll talk about during the overall, that this is for IIFT, where you have sectional cutoffs and overall cutoffs. So I would expect 2 easy, 9 moderate, and 2 difficult questions to be answered, attempted. 13 attempts. Fairly good accuracy, or rather very good accuracy, is required. Maybe one of the difficult or total 2 could be wrong. So if 2 questions are wrong, you can have expected 11 correct. 11 expected to be correct and 2 incorrect would give a score of 31. 11 into 3, 33, minus 2, 31. 31 would be a good expected score for quant section. I'll also summarize for the overall, and I'll even discuss a little more about the scores. You already seen the verbal, the DI, GK cutoffs. Approximately 2 hours can be split up as 35 minutes for verbal, 35 minutes for quant, 35 to 40 minutes for DI, and 8 to 10 minutes for GK. Now, in the 35 minutes of verbal, you need to attempt 20, which gives you a good score of 44. 13 for quant, which gives you a good score of 31. 20 attempts for DILR, again would fetch a score of 44, a good score of 44. And GK, 6 questions can be attempted with 4 correct, 2 wrong. If I expect a score of 5. Now, these are the good scores for every section. Every section has its own minimum cutoff, and there is an overall cutoff. The overall cutoff is much more than the summation of the individual cutoffs. So, if anybody is weak in a particular section, somebody might say, I'm not good in quant, somebody might say, I'm not good in verbal. Maybe you can score a little less in your weakness, but then you'll have to make up for that in the other sections. These are the summation of 124 is important. Now, even weakness does not mean you can score nothing. I'll not attempt verbal. I am very weak in verbal. I'll not do it at all. No, every section has its own cutoff. So even after this, I would expect 22 to be a good score for verbal, minimum requirement, minimum required. 44 is a good score. 22 should have been a minimum, 22 to 25. 15 to 16 for the quant. Again, maybe 22, 25 for the DILR. And at least 2 marks for the GK. At least 2.5 marks for the GK. Now, the score of 124 that is mentioned here is more like to get a call. Yes, you will get a call. But for a final selection, you need a little better than this also. So just this what I'm mentioning here, a good score of 24. 124 is for a call. If you are just happy getting a call, but not an admission. The weightage of the paper, the written test, for getting a call is 73 marks, 73%. The other is academic diversity, gender diversity. So 73% is a weightage for getting a call. So 124, yes, you might get a call. You'll get a call at 124. But the chances of conversion would be very, very low because the weightage, final weightage for final selection, the weightage of the written test is only 45%. There is a 40% for the selection process after your written test. That is the written assessment test, GD, PI. The VET has got 10% or 10 marks out of 100. GD is 10 marks out of 100. And the PI is 20 marks out of 100. So 40% comes from there. And of course, then there's a gender diversity, academic background diversity, work X, and academic consistency. So for all that, if you need a little more surety of admission, I would suggest at least scoring 135 to 144. 135 to 144 total. That means 15 to 20 marks beyond this good score would be good enough to give you a very good chance of an admission. At 124, call will be there, but then you need to show a wonderful performance in the VET, GD, and the PI. A very good score there might still get you an admission. That's why I'm putting this as 124. But for a very good, fairly good or a very good chance of getting an admission, I would suggest, yes, 135 to 144 marks should be done. Everywhere you need to attempt 5 more marks in these, except GK. GK 5 will do. Whichever be your strength, get 10 marks more, 5 to 10 marks more in your section of your strength. And maybe 5 marks in the other 2 sections. And that would be a very good score for final selection. So that's how IFT works. I hope you get a good understanding of the approach of calculating your scores. And yes, all the best for the other mocks, future mocks. Bye for now.